Take your set, ladies and gentlemen. The movie Time TV is about to start.
Charming yet just at any point somewhat engaging, Skyscraper investigates class fighting and the upsetting and crazy things that occur in a structure, in a real sense, isolated by classes, with the most extravagant individuals on the highest levels, the less fortunate down beneath. The film's savvy screenplay itself will engage a specific class, pundits, cinephiles and others looking for an alternate variety of film, while most will shrug and continue on, pushing it from their memory for eternity. Tom Hiddleston, Loki from Thor, Jeremy Irons, Luke Evans, Sienna Miller operator and Elizabeth Greenery star in this bizarre, however, ostensibly not weird enough film that the studio markets as a thrill ride, despite the fact that it truly isn't. A show with cultural similitude and explosions of brutality that evidently permits it be a thrill ride, Skyscraper includes a few okay exhibitions, however one of its glaring shortcomings is its badly characterized characters. Hiddleston is apparently the lead, however his personality is completely forgettable. Mill operator and Greenery are simply there, despite the fact that you can perceive their characters brought something to the table assuming they were given legitimate profundity. Evans conveys the best exhibition of the bundle, yet he also is compelled by a person whose demeanor and inspirations are difficult to comprehend. Put another way, the characters are not really in any way affable or in any event fascinating, so for what reason would it be advisable for me to think often about what befalls any of them? Obviously, Chief Ben Wheatley and screenwriter Amy Bounce, adjusting the novel by J.G. Ballard, didn't embark to make a person show. The reason for the film is to exhibit class fighting in a disengaged, tragic structure. Character profundity and, surprisingly, acting quality isn't generally so significant as the moves the characters make or the occasions that occur. Indeed, even still, Skyscraper scarcely works. The film is intriguing now and again, in any event engaging, and Wheatley's vision has a few prominent minutes. There are extents, particularly right off the bat, where the slight irregularity of all that is occurring really benefits the movie in light of the fact that you don't have the foggiest idea what heading the film is heading to take, or even what's going on with it. In any case, when you sort those components out, its baffling emanation disseminates, leaving you with a 2-hour spine chiller that feels excessively lengthy and battles to come to a meaningful conclusion. Skyscraper is a film with upsides and negatives, and regardless of whether it's worth the effort is subjective depending on each person's preferences, similarly as with all things. In any case, a film most will find somewhat of a task, neither great nor terrible yet somewhat dreary, a trial that needs to be something yet in the end is only shrug commendable. Richard leaves his better half, and Illustrious is deserted by his significant other. The store, which is situated in an elevated structure, is unfilled. Richard is pummeled by rich individuals, and Robert battles with different customers over the last wall paint. Dr. Lang becomes private with Helen, who is as yet pregnant. Furthermore, Illustrious is having intercourse with his significant other's companion, so, all things considered, Anne is holding her hand. Right now, it is discovered that Bobby is the child of the modeller. Richard needs to know where Illustrious resides and thrashes Charlotte as a result of it. Lang composes more stunning a remedy since he misses his significant other without question. The following scene looks disturbing. Clothing is being washed in the pool, and behind the scenes of what's going on there are numerous dead despite everything alive, except injured individuals. Helen is seized to be a cleaner on the upper floors where she conceives an offspring. Lang is compromised with being lost the gallery since he declines to lobotomize. More stunning. Regal recoveries the circumstance. He doesn't need Lang's demise, since then nobody will play squash with him. Toward the finish of the film, Richard kills Royal. And afterward he, at the end of the day, is killed by ladies who were encircled by the engineer. Everything closes with a satisfied Lang sitting by the fire, simmering a canine's leg. He imparts a piece of food to Charlotte. It might appear to be that the film looks crazy and pointless. In any case, it's not. In Skyscraper, the producers wake them up to the debasement of society. It appears to be that individuals have become more humanized, yet the creature embodiment in them doesn't rest, and is searching for an exit plan. Different indecencies lead to the breakdown of society: insatiability, desire, absence of ethical quality. Besides, society is debasing in totally various layers, which is the reason they show us a high rise where there was a spot for all classes of society, from the poor to the rich. None of the principal characters in the film appear to be agreeable. And, surprisingly, in the principal character they had the option to reflect one vital component of the working class, quiet. Many individuals choose to disregard the shocks that the rich make, the issues that influence the lower in the way of life. Quiet equals quiet complicity. This is displayed to us through the crystal of Dr. Lang's life. Indeed, he didn't kill or assault anybody, yet he didn't actually attempt to mediate, deliberately ignoring what was occurring. 𝒐𝒗𝒊𝒆 had a great deal of commitment. An astounding and one-of-a-kind idea. Same goes for the source material, which is a holding perused and stands apart reasonably. Ben Wheatley appeared to be the right chief, as he has an extraordinary style. It had a cast that one truly shouldn't turn out badly by, the entertainers generally massively gifted. The trailer looked incredible outwardly and showed a charming film. We'll concede that there were questions, however, as the book is one more book that is challenging to adjust. Questions that unfortunately ended up being right on the most part. The reasons have been expressed as often as possible to a great extent, is definitely not a truckload more to add. There are books around that ought to have been let be expected to being unadaptable. 𝒐𝒗𝒊𝒆 is one of them. Other book-to-movie transformations seen as of late that fit under this qualification are Place of the Spirits, which would have been greatly improved as a smaller-than-usual series, Stripped Lunch, Cosmopolis and Crash, just to express that, in spite of singling out 3 David Cronenberg films, he is a chief for the most part respected by me. Returning to discussing 𝒐𝒗𝒊𝒆 as a film, it is an instance of first impression over something more significant, and is a challenging to rate film, and an instance of the trailer being far superior to the film. Didn't adore it, didn't abhor it, am extremely tangled truly. It gets going so promisingly. The main half-hour, or first demonstration, is exceptionally charming and simple to follow, drawing one right in. All through, 𝒐𝒗𝒊𝒆 looks fabulous. In reality, thought it was one of the most amazing-looking movies of the year. The creation configuration alone left me in amazement, and the cinematography impeccably catches the tragic, horrible nature of the story. Clint Mansell's score is both tormenting and stirring, adding a great deal to what is happening and in any event, improving it without domineering. Wheatley's course is extremely lopsided, however he succeeds in the visual style, which is exceptionally creative. The cast are likewise surprisingly perfect. It is astounding that they accomplished such a great deal with material that they are well above of. Luke Evans particularly brings a ton of power, mystique and strength to the one person the film attempts to create and the one person the watcher feels anything for. Tom Hiddleston conveys 𝒐𝒗𝒊𝒆 with a ton of appeal and orders the screen easily. Jeremy Irons plays around with his job while additionally being threatening and giving his particular gravitas. Elizabeth Greenery is likewise a champion. The remainder of the cast are underused yet capitalize on what they have. No one's terrible here. Such a disgrace, however, that 𝒐𝒗𝒊𝒆 goes downhill quickly too soon in a somewhat unexpected and exceptionally fierce difference in tone, and the remainder of the film turns out to be extremely disconnected. It turned out to be progressively dull, with no genuine force, and the center demonstration particularly felt overextended and cushioned. Giving the feeling of the film being unreasonably lengthy by about 60 minutes, the center half-hour could undoubtedly have been removed, and the absence of energy showing a sign of the story, generally speaking, being too slight. Basically, it isn't simply dull, it becomes befuddling and over-muddled to the mark of incongruity. While Wheatley succeeds on the style part of 𝒐𝒗𝒊𝒆, the substance is muddled and too withdrew, that was implied by his course being lopsided. Miserable in light of the fact that on paper, he appeared to be the right chief. Didn't feel anything for the characters, other than Evans more out of control. They are problematic cartoons, avoided a lot at all costs. Inwardly, 𝒐𝒗𝒊𝒆 left me cool, felt next to no strain or feeling, since there was such a lot of disappointment at the absence of energy in the center demonstration and the turbulent over-convoluted disarray that arrived at limit by the somewhat sudden and head-scratching finishing. Different disappointments are the dull and narcissistic content and a very fascinating moral on paper being executed cumbersomely. 𝒐𝒗𝒊𝒆, the new movie coordinated by Ben Wheatley from a content by his standard colleague and spouse, Amy Bounce, starts with this scene, even with this sentence presented in voiceover. The representation is fresh, clear, however cautious enough to not quickly incite a hurrying to the ways out. Wheatley is a shrewd, clever producer who knows how to tweak his symbolism. Snaring a film watcher is not quite the same as snaring a peruser. What's more, Skyscraper the film snared me. The tale of an apparently odd breakdown of social request inside an apartment complex, external London, that has been intended to surmise a local area. Skyscraper was a speculative fiction, a whole lot, when it was composed. Wheatley and Hopp's most memorable, shrewd choice in adjusting the novel was in leaving it in its non-cutting-edge 1975 time period. It's the worldly spot where Ballard's story works best, and with regards to a 2015 delivered film, it makes a specific retro-free zone for the watcher, and times then, at that point, as it were. It likewise permits Wheatley and 𝐓𝐴 to make a few expressly political focuses about incredible England, which some might consider foolish. The frightening story of life in a cutting-edge tower shut running out from control. Inside the disguising walls of an exquisite, 40-story tower block, the wealthy occupants are dead set on a blowout of obliteration. Mixed drink parties decline into pillaging assaults on faux floors, and the once extravagant conveniences become a field for mechanical mayhem. In this exemplary visionary story, human culture slips into fierce opposite as the occupants of the Great Ascent, driven by base desires, reproduce a world governed by the laws of the wilderness.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and share.